So everyone is more settled, right? So today is on to teaching storytelling. So everyone knows, do you do storytelling with your students? Do you conduct storytelling with your students?
Sometimes.
So it's a good way to get them to know, to read, and also to have the confidence to speak.
Yes.
Right?
Only it's a matter of selecting the interesting stories. Yeah.
Yes, you have to go according to the students, what they like, and also the age. So the pace has to be there. All right. So we'll just wait for a few minutes to see if anyone else is joining. We still have some time. All right. So the storytelling and speakers link. Okay, it's a very short course. It's just the information I would like to share because this program, I've been doing it with my language center, and it has actually, the children in my center has improved. So it's a very successful program that we have done. And I'll go through as how we did it. And I hope this will help you all for you to do storytelling with your students. Okay. So from here, first we're looking at level 1 and to level 3, which means the elementary level students, which is you can start with 6-year-olds if they are confident enough, and you can go up to 9-year-olds. So that's the storytelling from 6 to 9-year-old students. So that's why, and we put it as level 1 to level 3. So in the level 1 program for children, we go with this one. So, and what we do here is we have 2 sessions that we do with the students. All right. So level 1, we have about 7 sessions where we go with the elementary level 1, which is the 9-year-olds. So we give them storybooks and we set a ground rule, which means the first session we are going to do is we're going to focus on the intonation, pronunciations, voice projection, and clarity. So what we do here is we give the storybooks to the students. Okay, we select storybooks that are suitable. And from there, we give the students for them to practice on. And then we will say that this is the first session is the theme. You can have a theme, loud and clear. So you're assessed on intonations, pronunciations, voice projection, and clarity. So you give them a time and say, you have the book. I need to see this when you speak, when you read out the story. So the first time when the child is doing this, it will be better to allow them to read from the book so that they have more confidence. And it will be good to have like a lectern where they can stand in front of it and put the book there and then they talk. So to bring them out from their sitting place, their comfort zone, it is always good for you to have a lectern where the child can stand in front of it, okay, and then put the book there. So there is more confidence that they have something for them to hang on. Okay, so this is a better way instead of asking them to just stand in front without any, and then they're holding the book. So it can be quite, it will be bringing some fear to the child. So the child may not be able to do. So you make it in a very professional way by having the lectern and then putting the student in front. It will be a good way. And everybody, you must make sure that have the other students pay attention. If you're doing it online, this is also a good platform to do with your students online. It's a one-to-one basis, or you have 3 students or 4 students in front of you. You can always test them in this way so that you make sure that they speak, and they have to be like from the waist up. They must show you online. And that's how you can see them speak and project themselves. All right. Then the second one, you can start with the gestures. So here I would suggest is we can still use the same storybooks that you have and add on. So they're looking at the pronunciations, facial expressions. So you are assessing them with more things you're adding on, all right? So that's how we work on. So facial expressions is from the book, how they, pronounce the words, use their hands. So it's always good to have this lectern in front so that they can, put the book there and then they do their actions, all right? So if you have any questions, please do ask because it's more of an interactive session and I would like you all to gain some experience on this, all right? So if we all are doing this, I would like to have some sharing sessions as well. So we are learning from here, from both ways. Okay, so then we go with the level 2. Okay, so level 1, we project on the primary 1, 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds. And then level 2 will be the 8-year-olds and the 9, or you can break it up according to the students' pace. All right, if the students are very fast. Now, one thing I would like to tell you is when we do these speeches, we can't just allow the child to go through. We have to be strict. We have to be firm in what the requirements they should have. Okay, so if it is said that you need to have intonations and you need to have vocal variety, I want to hear that. If the child don't do that, you cannot just let them go. So this kind of sessions, story sessions, can take like 2 to 3 months, 4 months, the child repeating the same thing. It's okay. It's good for you. It's better for you to make the child do exactly what is needed than to just allow the child to go through. Then they won't learn anything. Okay. So from the part from pronunciation just now with hand gestures, we go with the second part where we start with vocal variety. So in vocal variety, they also need to implement gestures as well. So you bring forward. So whatever they've learned in the previous session, they have to bring it into the second session. So that is how they have to collaborate and start to be more confident and have to, bring out the confidence and to make sure that they know what they're doing. Okay, so that's the important part. So you can't just allow the child, okay, you're doing vocal variety, but they don't do any actions. You must remind them. You learned about gestures. Why is it that you're not putting in? So this is how you need to add on, all right? So that's one thing. So vocal variety, as you know, the child has to have different voice control. So if there's 3 characters, you say, if you have 3 characters in a book, I need to hear 3 different voices. You can't just simply say with one tone of voice where you can't differentiate the narrator between the 2 characters in the book. So there must be a voice for the narrator, a voice for 1 character, 2 character, 3. So it depends on how many characters you need to know. They need to give you the different voice. So that's the meaning of vocal variety, pronunciations, and clarity, because you need to understand what they're saying. So like I said, you can give them the time. You can give them about 3 minutes to read a story from the book, but you must make sure they have this. If not, you have to redo. It can be the following session. So it's better to get them to redo the following session. You say you didn't follow what is needed, you need to redo again. So when it comes to this, as evaluators, we teachers are the evaluators. Okay, we evaluate them, so we have to be strict and we must make sure that they follow. Okay. So the next one is show and tell. Show and tell is used either if they're older students or younger students, we can ask them to bring something and talk about it. That's show and tell. Okay, they want to use their pictures in their iPad, or they bring photographs, or they bring magazines showing the pictures, it's fine. But they need to project, and they also need to have some hand gestures, eye contact. So all this is pushed in. All right, any questions here? Everybody's fine? Great. All right, so let's go with the next one. So we are going for is the next level. So since I said we have 3 levels and I think we have 4. So this is the one. So next one is as they grow older, then this could be the 9-year-old students where we are doing as writing a story and organizing a speech. So here organization is to get them to write their own. So no more storybooks. So the books that we were giving in level in the first sessions in level 1 and 2, level 3, there won't be books, but they will be writing their own story. And you are giving them organization, which means there must be an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, and they have to read out the story. Okay, or that's when we can actually get them to do writing is incorporated with this, so that they will know how to work on it. So I'll just go through the slides first, then I'll show you the whole workbook, the whole process of how it's done and how you assess the students, right? So here we are looking at is what we're assessing on. We're looking at the content, how they speak with confidence. And here we would prefer if the child starts to memorize the speech and talk in front. They can have cue cards. So here we as teachers, we can actually work with them to see their speech, whether how good it is, and then from there we can work on it, all right? And the last one, this is quite interesting because we get the whole group to work together. Supposing you only have one student with you, if it's an online class or an ESP that you're doing this one, it's like you're getting the child to come up with their own idea of what they want to speak. You can do it with one student, all right? Ask them to come up with, okay, today is your last day, where you are going to create your own, story or what you want. They can call it a speaker's choice. They can choose whatever they want to speak, but you say you need to incorporate everything. That means organizing the speech, vocal variety in it, and then you have the gestures. So all these have to be put in, and then you can create your own. But if it's in a group, then it's good because you can make it as a teamwork where they come up with a story and act it out like a drama. Okay, so that's the most of the storytelling. Just let me stop share here so that I can share with you the whole project. All right, just one moment. Storytelling, yes. Okay, so this is the whole storytelling ways that we have created. Okay, so we project on level 1, like I said, is loud and clear. So this whole thing we have in session 1 is where what are the criteria as a teacher, what you need to know. All right. So this is a whole lesson plan of storytelling where I'm giving you an idea where you can actually create your own lesson plan for storytelling. So here is an example for loud and clear. So what happens is, this is what I've given where the story, you see, you as a teacher, you need to demonstrate is how a story is to be told. So first you read it in a very boring way, okay, very bland way, no intonation, no facial expressions. And then from there you twist and then you try to read it out in a better way. So that's to give them tips on what is important and to emphasize. These are the things that you need to use. So you give the storybook, and then you can ask them to read to you, or you give them first and then explain to them what is needed. Now here is, we usually give the child 1 week before. So if next week is the storytelling, this week we go through the pronunciations, and then the child goes home to practice, and then they come back and we will evaluate the child. Okay, so that's how it is. So this is the evaluation form that we have for each child, where you can use this so that we give the criteria ratings from excellent to poor. and we put in the marks. So here the time requirement is usually we want the child to read that book. It's a fixed time. It could be 3 minutes. So it's more of a 3-minute book because these are 8, 7, and 6 and 7-year-old children. So the words could be longer, bigger, and it is about 3 minutes. So before you give the books as teachers, you should outsource the books that you feel that is enough to reach the 3 minutes. So the child doesn't go too slow, all right? And don't pause too much. So the confidence is there is what we want to give the student, right? So anybody has any questions here? So your evaluation, you mark. So here is when you will, when you see how they done. So like I said, you need to be a strict teacher in this sense, an evaluator. If they haven't reached the criteria that is needed, you can put a remark that they need to redo the speech, the storytelling. Okay, so we need to have that sternness or that firmness in evaluating, right? So that's the most important part of the speech. Okay, then we go to session 2. So it's the same thing here. We go with session 2. First thing is you can, as I said, you can use the same storybook or you want to use a different. So always the teacher demonstrates. It's always good for the teacher to demonstrate the whole thing so that the child gets an idea of what is needed. If you don't demonstrate, some children won't know what is it that they need. Okay, so that's the important part here. So from here, you will explain is how you move your body. So you don't make sure that the hand gestures are not too much, not too little. It explains the story and how you stand and project yourself, how you have eye contact. So all this comes in under gestures. So we are looking into this. So you can either give them a storybook, the same book, or a different book, and then you can ask them to read aloud and give them their feedback. So like you can have it this week and then they can do it, and then you tell them that they will be evaluated, and that's how we go. So this is just a guideline for you all for the different weeks that you're doing your storytelling. So the child is improving step by step instead you're doing it all together in one day. Okay, so that's the important part here. So the evaluation comes in this form as well. So the title of the story. If the child has a book on their own, I would rather for the first time is if you don't have books, then you can actually ask students to. So when you want to do pair work, most of it is, now the storytelling when it's the last, so it's always good to have like 2 to 3. So when it comes to the last part where it is more of a teamwork, you can have it as pair work or group work. Depends on the story that the child they are going to do. Okay, maybe there's more characters in it, so they need more people to add on. So it depends on the last story that they are going to give, or you may be giving, and you may sort out and tell the students you either work in pairs or in groups. So it depends on how many students you have. Okay, so this is for the gestures. So same thing, but you're adding on is the voice command. So every evaluation is slightly different. And if the child is poor or average, for me is, if the child in the average form, they have to redo. Okay, so excellent and good is one way you can tell them is they can go to the next level. If here is average and poor, or rather they do back again so that they can improve and become good or excellent. Anyone has any questions here? Okay, so you can have your own, way of doing your storytelling. This is just a guideline for you. If you're new to it and you want to run a storytelling program in your class or a workshop, so this is a good way to try it out. If we have tried it out, we are still doing it with our lower levels, and we see the improvement with the students as they grow into the next level of our speeches. that they are able to speak more confident. All right. So these are the recommended books that we, our center, have. So we give the teachers these books, which are for the level 1 group, and they will look into this. Either we give each child a different book, or we may give the same type of books, and then they use this. So these are the books recommended to our teachers. So if you have your own lesson, you can sort out books for this, and then you can use it for your storytelling. Okay. So that's about the idea of how it's done. So this is a level 1, as we can see. Those who have come earlier on, this is level 1 storytelling. So we have 3 levels. So this is level 1. Okay. And then we have is the level 2, which is the elementary 8-year-olds. All right. So 7-year-olds and then 8-year-olds, we go with the level 2. And then the criteria are different, which is the vocal variety. So if your child is, a fast learner and she has confidence to speak, you can bring in your level 2 to the 7-year-olds as well. But if they're slow, we just maintain the 2 types of storytelling for the whole year or for 6 months before we go to level 2. So what I mean here is when it comes to level 2, it doesn't mean it has to follow the age. The whole level storytelling is from 6 to 9-year-olds. So it depends on how good your student is or how weak they are. Sometimes from level 1, 2, and 3 stories may drag till they are 9-year-olds, or they may complete before that. So even if they complete before that, then you challenge them with different storybooks and you can ask them to do more. Okay, so this is one thing that we can do, and this is an idea of how you can do vocal variety. So as a teacher, it's always good to work with your students before you give them something and say, I want you to do vocal variety, go home and practice. But you need to understand is how to pause, and then how the words they speak, so how the expressions on the face. So this is like a practice for them. And then from there, you give them the books and you can tell. So how they say the sound. So this vocal variety is a practice in class. The teacher does with the students. And then from there, you give them. So they have an idea on how it's done. Right? Everybody's clear? Huh? And then the evaluation will come in accordingly. So here is just we're starting with the vocal variety. So the main part is how they project their voice, pronunciations, and remember, they have to remember what they have learned the previous way. They have the gestures coming in. Okay, and then they can also show and tell. They may use something to show as well as speak. Maybe they show the book that they're going to read out and what's the story about, and then they start to tell the story. Or you can actually have a video on how people do vocal variety, where they listen and how they project the voices. So it's also a good way to show students videos on how vocal variety is done. All right. Everybody's okay? Please don't hesitate to ask me any questions. So, and if you have more ideas, please do share, right? So let's go with the next one, which is show and tell. So just now, the show and tell is this. So show and tell, for me here, what I did was, I gave the students the story. For example, this is Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. So what I did was I did a mind mapping. So I told the students to do a mind map of the story that she's going to read and then maybe put it on the board. So these are the things that she broke it up and put it on the board. And then from there, she tells the story. So model character mapping. So we can give this as an idea for show and tell. or she can use the books and then she can cut out the pictures and she paste it on the board, and then it goes like a procedure of first thing what happened and things like that. So this is just an example of how you can use it in the show and tell based on the storybook. All right. And so your evaluations will become more because self-confidence must be there for the child to talk from the story. That means she's writing out a summary of the story and then she's going to elaborate more. So she may be showing the pictures in the book as she talks. So it's more of her words as she speaks. It may not be the exact words from the storybook. So we need to explain to students is when it comes to show and tell from a storybook they're taking, or if not, as you want different ways of doing a show and tell, like they bring something and then they talk about it, it's also fine. But the thing is, the confidence is how they talk about this whole thing. So students may use the board for other things where they write out, they may draw the characters or they may paste pictures on the board and they start to talk about it. It's fine. As long as they have the confidence to have eye contact and they talk in proper intonations, and you as an evaluator, you need to see whether they have all this in. Now the time requirement here, you can extend it from 3 minutes up to 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, depends on the ability of the child, because show and tell can have so many things to be said. So it's better for you to work on that.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, what about the level 1, like primary schools pupils? Because some of them are not fluent in English.
Yes.
They are still learning process. So what is your advice, the time frame? I mean the timing.
3 minutes should be fine.
Within 3 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And also the book that you're giving them. So it's good, should be a simple book that when you give them first, when you give the book first, you ask them to read and you can see how long they take to read the book. So before you have a real storytelling session where you're going to evaluate, it's always good to give them the book that you're going to give and ask them to read. Are they going too fast? Are they going too slow? So that's where you tell them there is a time limit that you must speak. So it could be between 2 to 3 minutes and the child has to speak till then.
Do they have to memorize?
For the first time, no. You give them the confidence is use the book and then they read from there. So the first level is always allow them to use the book. But slowly as they graduate to higher levels, then it's better for them to memorize at least 3/4 of it. You can have the paper there or the cue cards, but they need to. Okay. Thanks for asking. All right. So that's the way we can do. Any other questions you have? So from here, that's when we go with the last. So these are the recommended books that we had in our center where we use with our children. So maybe you have better books so you can use. So every level, we have different books, level 1, level 2. So these are level 2 books where there are more words and the students have more time to speak, more time to express themselves and things like that. All right. And then I will go with the last level, which is the storytelling level 3. Okay, so storytelling level 3, as you can see, is where they organize a speech. So here is when there's no more storybooks and we are giving the students to narrate a story using a mind map or maybe using the WH questions, 5 senses, because they are writing a descriptive essay. So you are teaching them how to write an essay. So here it comes to writing a story and then really narrating the story. So we are giving them the platform on how to write, giving them ideas and asking. So here, those children writes the story so that they will know how to, deliver during the story challenge. So we can use the mind map as we did for the story just now for the show and tell. So we can give them an idea that this is how we're going to do, and they can create for dialogues. So there's vocal variety that comes in, and then we can create the narrators, and then we can create the whole story. Okay. And then they will be evaluated on this. So when it comes to evaluation, so for storytelling, we can increase the time to 4 minutes to 5 minutes. And then the content is important as to the title of the story that they're going to give. Then the command. So all these are what we will evaluate on. Okay. And then it comes with the last part where they become aspiring professionals. It's either in pairs or in small groups. So here we are explaining is everyone has to be a character. They can choose any books from our list, or they can have their own books where all the children have to cooperate and use it. So this is a narrator, then the actors. So here is where you're going as group work to observe, and then we just evaluate them in this way. So this is a fun thing, like it can be a last day of a whole thing where everybody comes together and make up the story, and then we evaluate in group. So this is group work. So you see your teamwork, how they work together, was it good, and how they handle the whole thing. So here, as when they're doing this, the teacher just becomes a facilitator and just observe from far how they work. Okay, they can come to you for advice, but it's better to allow the children to do the work together. But if it is online, it can be a bit difficult, because if you have about 4 students online doing storytelling, this may be a bit difficult thing to do online. But if you can also, we can ask the students to do individual work, or you can get them to work in pairs in class online itself, so that they can work together while in class, in the virtual class. Right. Anyone has any questions here? Everyone's fine? Yes. So like this one, we don't have much of the books, but still I have books where I can give the students if they want to. These are more stories. So especially for the last part when they're doing the teamwork and they're going to act out. So I can recommend books for them so that they can use the books to do the last one where they do as aspiring professionals. Okay. So everybody's okay? Yeah. All right. So next we go is and this program that I'm going to go for the primary 4, which is the 10-year-olds, and to the upper level. It's a program called the Speakers League. I'm not sure whether you have heard of it. So the Speakers League is this is so share first. Go with the speakers. Okay. All right. So this is called the Speakers League, where our center, as we have bought this program. It's a US program for children, and our center, our main body, has bought this program. And we are allowed to run this program the whole of Malaysia. So this is what we use for children. It's something like a Toastmasters program, but this is for children. I'm not sure whether you all have seen this program, but this is where we are licensed to run this program in Malaysia. Okay, so it's a very good platform where our children have the ability to speak accordingly. So it is on the Masters of Ceremony. So we have children participating, being MCs, being told, sergeant at arms and things like that. So this whole book is a guideline of how students can work on. But if your students are new to this program, usually it's from primary 4 onwards we introduce. So there are 4 levels for each group, all right? So there are 4 levels to complete. Level 1 has 7 speeches, level 2, 7 speeches, and so on. So until level 4, so it's 7 speeches. So if they complete 4 levels, which means they have completed almost 28 speeches. Okay, so there are some guidelines that are given to the students. This whole manual help you as a teacher to get the students to also participate in a sense of giving them responsibilities and how to work on. But evaluators, we usually we teachers be the evaluators. So you can use this as an idea of how it's done, and then we can work on it. So we use it as a U shape. So we set the table like this, and then we have a lectern. So one will be the evaluator, and then the speaker sits here. So these are how we arrange the tables in the classroom for us to run this program. Okay. So this is a very simple way. The child stands in front and then she talks. So just to build up the confidence of the student. If they have questions where they can ask. So there is impromptu masters. We also have medals where we give the students, where everybody chooses the best speaker, and then we go on. So I will just go with the speeches, where we need to tell the students what is it, okay? And then the evaluator is here. So here is the level 1 speeches. So the first speech this is an evaluation worksheet for the students, where getting to know you is the first speech, gesture is the second speech, third and fourth. So here we look at getting to know you, and then we work on it and see how much they have known, whether they followed the criteria, and then you can mention so that as an evaluator, but you can actually use your own way to evaluate the students, right? And then the feedback. So it's always good to give constructive criticism instead of telling, no, you didn't do well. It was not good. You should never say negative things to a child when she speaks. It's always good to give positive, constructive criticism so they don't know they actually were at fault. All right, so this is a level 2. I'll just go down to show you the speeches. This one. Okay, let's go with the speeches. We also use the red card, the yellow card, and the green card for every speech that you're doing. And then there's impromptu. Okay, so if you see here, this is a level 1 speech. The first speech is getting to know you. So the first speech is only 4 to 6 minutes. So here is for you as a teacher, you get this, is to guide the students as to what is needed in a getting to know you session. So you think of the ways to do, because getting to know you is talking about yourself. So you may give them questions. You know, some children, they don't know how to talk about themselves. So maybe you can give them like, what's your name, your age, and then your family, and then what you like, what you dislike. Maybe you give them things like that so that they are able to come up with a 4-minute speech and they can talk about it. Okay, so you can give cues and explain to them. So usually it's a 4-minute speech, so you get to evaluate. So here is some questionnaires where you can give your students to give like an icebreaker or to give them ideas as what they need to talk about. So it's only for the first speech. After that, they need to work on how they can do the second speech. All right. So you also need to tell them is what you should avoid when it talks about, when you are talking about yourself, you don't talk about your family occasion because it's out of topic. Okay. So they need to make sure that they stick to the topic and they are talking about what is needed. Okay, so choosing a topic is important where they are able to do the speech. All right, so that's the idea behind it. So the second, so for the first level, they have 7 speeches. After getting to know you, is using gestures. You see, it is almost the same as the child was doing storytelling. So you're preparing them to go into the higher level of using gestures because then they already have the confidence. So once they have this is the criteria, so they already know what they're supposed to do if the child is growing with you. But if it's a new child that's come to you for this program and he's already 10-year-old or 11, you still start with the level 1 and then you go with the first speech, second speech, regardless of their age. But usually we start from when the child is after 10. All right. So then the vocal variety comes in. So you see the speech is now 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, so vocal variety is power, pitch, pace, and pauses. So that's the whole thing where we can actually give the child to do. Anyone has any questions for this? Then using visual aids, you see visual aids, the child brings the bicycle in and shows and demonstrates explaining what it is. So it's totally different from the storytelling. They can bring the pets or they can bring anything that they feel is confident. Now, my children, they use their iPad more for for visual aids, showing things. And I had a student who demonstrated how to do pizza using all the Play-Doh and yeah, so it's a fun way to do. Okay, so you can see is my storytelling, the criteria are almost the same as my speaker's link. It's just because I want them to know what is expected as they go older, and it's almost the same idea so that they know what they're going to do and they have more confidence. All right. Everyone has any questions here? So let's launching example of the outline. So this is a format that they want them to have a speech is when you accomplish with the, so this is just an idea where the students have about speaking, right? Then the speaker's choice. Speaker's choice is they choose their own speech and they can read. So they may use the same topic to speak, all right? It's up to them. But this one, speaking with knowledge. Well, this switched, okay. Speaking with knowledge is 7 minutes. So here the child's speech must be really final speech in the level where they have to speak, where everybody gains knowledge of how they speak. They cannot be less than 6.5 minutes. They must speak for 7. They can only, the minimum is yellow, so which is 6.5, and then the 7 minutes. So they shouldn't go more and they shouldn't be less. So whenever we give a timing like this, the child shouldn't speak more than 7 minutes. Control speech is important, but they shouldn't be less than 5 minutes. So to gain the confidence. So this is a very powerful speech here where students come up with knowledge where they are giving information of something they speak that end of the day, their friends learn something new. So research can be done, teachers can help them, and so this is how it is. Anyone has any questions here? So that's about the whole thing of the level. So here we have also the impromptu. So everything is given in this. so that you have a chart, a record of whether the child learns. So if the child didn't learn this topic, didn't get through, you need to make sure that they work on it, right? So members level, checkpoint, your completion chart. So everything is given in this program so that it's easy for you, who played the role, so there's no repetition of the role plays. So if you have more students, say you can do a role play like this, having students to come up with this, if you have at least 5 students. In that sense, 3 could be one. You don't have to have the humorist. You can have an MC. You can have a timekeeper. All right. And also, that's it. You can have these 2 or an impromptu master where speeches are given. So you may have 3. So out of 5, if 3 takes a role, 2 only will speak. Then the following week, you can have the others taking part, and then those who spoke take charge of this. So it doesn't mean that if you're an MC, you must also speak. No, they're giving role plays for a role for each child is to build the confidence. So speakers will be 2. So you give them a choice, or you can draw lots where 1 week the child will be this, or the timekeeper. And then from there, we can have another child doing another role. And then those who didn't do the speech have to do the speech. So you go rotation until all of them have a chance to be all these roles, as well as the speech is completed. So level 1. So every speech, it takes quite some time, because you want to hear everybody speak for level 1 speech, the speech 1, speech 2, speech 3. So this whole program of level 1 can actually drag up to 6 months or a year, depending on whether you're doing once a month or you're doing twice a month, depends on you. Or you're just doing only Speakers League just to gain confidence, then this one can be done. Level 1 speeches actually can be done with every week for 1 month. Everybody takes a role. Anyone has anything to ask?
Yes, I have a question again.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, what is your opinion about a student? Do we encourage them to talk a lot, or to talk more, or to identify and listen by listening them, giving the facts of the story, or we allow them to talk as they like
No.
independently, or what?
No. That's why we give the timing. Okay. Why we give this is because when the child speaks too much, one thing is it goes out of control. You cannot, all the other students won't have time to speak, because everybody is given the chance to speak. So you need to control that speech, is that you only have 7 minutes and you have to talk, and it has to be the topic that you're given. It cannot be out of topic.
Because maybe they think they can get score higher.
No. You need to set the rules. As a teacher, we need to set the rules is what is expected in the speech. Okay, for this speech, the only one is written material you have taken is the lantern, and then you need to make sure that you give them is in this speech, what is it that you're going to speak about. All right, so this is a level 2 speech, which is already organizing the speech from level 1, and then they're working out on this. All right, so here is work with words. So the time is for them to work on their speech. So here, we must control the speech, is because there is a limit. Now, you can tell your students, you will go, even experienced speaker on stage, do they talk for 1 hour? They have a certain time limit they can talk. They can't talk more than that, right? So every speaker goes on stage, there is a time limit for them to speak. You cannot go more than that. So for them is, you have to say is, I don't evaluate you for speaking too much. I evaluate you is the content and what is needed for that speech. Okay? So you have to control that. That is why we will give them is the green card, the yellow card, and the red card, and the time. So when it comes to like 5 minutes, when it's 5 minutes, the timer will put up the red card. to show, and then it goes to the, okay, yes. So 7 minutes, this time they will ring the bell, he has to stop. Yes, so they have to follow the rules, right? So this is a level 2 speeches, and they have more confidence, and there is speakers assigned speeches. And my girl is doing this, so yeah. So these are the outlines for the second speech. So they, like I said, we have until level 4. So this is level 1 and level 2 speeches. So students get the confidence to speak, and that's about it. All right. Okay. So, and then we have one more that we do is we use, so like we don't have to follow. This is an example of something where you can use for your child to work as an MC. So you can just have this printed out many. So whoever the MC is, they just read. Just read from here and then give. So it's just a matter of just repeating for each student as the MC. So yes, so we give them this one and then they go up. So the green card is up. So the MC tells is, you know, when it's 4 minutes, you write it on the board and then they come up with this. Okay. So this Speakers League program, as I said, is we are licensed for it. And if you are interested in running this program at your center, you can always talk to the admin or the person in charge for this. If you're really keen to run this program, it's really a very good platform for your children, actually. It really helps the students, especially the intermediate level and above. They really have the job. Okay, so that's about it. And then the impromptu masters. So you have impromptu masters. They also have, what they say, typed out speech words where they can talk about this. Okay. So this is all given, so you can just work on that. Any questions here? All right. And then there's one more I'd like to share. And this one. You know, when we speak, we always have this problem where people start to speak, they go with the ums and the ahs when you speak. Yeah. So this is to the student who is doing this ah counter. You write the name and then how many times they say the last and how many times they say the ah, they will count. And then they total up. By right, this one is meant for that the next speech, it should reduce, not become more. To show their faults, where their faults are, and they have to, reduce the amount of mistakes they do when you speak. So when someone always there's a pause where they go, and then they go, and there's so many who like to say so. So all these we count and total, and we put a total here. So by the next speech, this, if they have 20, by next speech, it has to go down to 19, 18 or to 10. So totally 0, almost 0 is what is important. Okay. All right. Any questions here?
It means they have to speak English 100%, no Malay, no other.
Yeah, no in betweens. You see, not only that, there shouldn't be much pause. You see, when they pause too long, there's a long pause in their speech. That means they're wasting time. So the time is when they speak is supposed to be 5 to 7 minutes, and a child pauses for half a minute, and then they continue until the 7 minutes. Then it's wrong. So the long pauses also we see. So if it's like we count is like 5 seconds and they still not, we put a 1, we put like that, and then we go on, and then we see the total. It's a matter of not using all the las and the ers and the common speech, common words.
So these are weaknesses.
Yes, the weaknesses that we are looking into. Anyone has any other questions? So if you don't have, I'm going to give you one activity to do. Okay? So 3 minutes. I want you to prepare about yourself. I'm going to time you. So I'm giving you at least 3 minutes to prepare so you can talk about yourself for 4 minutes. It's a 4-minute speech of getting to know you. Since you all are adults, I'm sure you all are able to do it. So please prepare a speech about yourself, which has to be. So please don't take too long, about 4 minutes or so, it'll be good. Yeah. Here, I'd like to share with you all. This was a speech done in one art at our language center at Nusa Bestari. And this is our teacher, and she conducted the speaker's link. And we have put it on YouTube.
Good morning, rules are Miss Nadine and Musabel and Jai. Welcome to the speaker lecture meeting. Before we proceed on with today's please.
So this boy is the MC.
Our officer.
I think the sergeant at arms and MC. So they have the whole criteria.
Jai. Thanks to something. The program for today's meeting will start off with the message by any and followed by the proposed speech. Everyone will be given a chance to work for the best speaker. That's it. Our first order speaker will be doing is level 1 for the previous speech lecture. The objective of his speech is push it boost. And welcome to our speaker and video.
It was time for them to go into the world and see their country. Gave his first son was William, the second son was John, but he had studied there for his son. All I had to do was make a push with my boy's body. So the younger son set out the world and could get a cat. I would show this son, he said. No, you wouldn't say. I would be expressive. The miller's astonished at this violent and controversial. The course that people belongs and are ready. Soon after he the miller's son, he turned all the way to the palace and delivered it to the king. It is something to the common God, said Puss. The king was impressed. Who is your lord with the cat? Asked him. The king put out the grand sounding cat. He is the loveliest of courage. Once upon a time, Puss caught a better than he could find the king. Grew more and more pleased with the mysterious lord on his head. Meanwhile, the miller's son had hardly any food. When will we eat? He said. I have nothing but big crumbs or bakes. Let's go down to the river for a walk, said the king, and you will be surprised. So, the miller's son went to the river by the big bridge to wash himself. The cat knew that the king was passing by in the royal carriage, which is with the lord. Then the carriage rumbled onto the pig. The cat called out, help, help, the loveliest of Carabas is drowning. The king's servants rushed the miller's son and helped him out of the water into some fine clothes. It was put into the king. The king was pleasure in the Lord who has been sending him so the previous thought he was very so. But what will we do now since this bird in the sky? The king was supplied on the heavens. If they go in front of the the 12 people of the land will the fields. Quick, the king cried, the king is coming. If you don't tell them the land belongs to the market, you will shop nothing. The people were so afraid of the king, but they were cold. And the king asked who spent the money. It belongs to the market. Next, the cat came to the money. Who stood there all the power street? The cat of the god, the fierce of the what do you want to order book? And the forget it. It's true when the order see us ahead. They should change the time to anything. It is the order what? Suddenly, the order comes in every morning life. It is put all around the class. Finally, the order became very kind and changed back into his own form. That's very good, said the I bet you can put yourself in something small, like a mouse. Of course I can, below the order. The dog is actually a tiny mouse and straight away picked up the and kicked him out. Instead, the royal carriage pulled up to the door. Is this your castle, Humphreys? Asked the king to the middle's son. Before the middle's son could reply, he said, yes, Your Majesty, it is. They said inside. The king marveled at the splendor of the castle, and so did the middle's son. Of the plan. When they ate the magnificent feast, the order has prepared. The rich and whispered of the internal part. Yes. The father said to the middle son, "My ways of parents, I will be honored if you could take my daughter in marriage." So the middle son proposed to the princess and they were married within a week. Middle son became a prince, and the cat was reared into as many mice as he could eat, and eat the new pair of even brothers, shining fruits. After that, the middle son, a princess, and posed the heavenly ever after. Yeah.
So he hasn't finished his 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Okay. So this is how the card should go up.
This period, so
No, evaluate finance report, please.
what is the formula with the rules?
Please follow the script. If you don't follow the script, you miss a lot of things.
The last one of this period of this level.
So this teacher is giving the evaluation for that boy.
How you spoke and pronounced the words, John. And there were some parts of the story that we could understand, but there were some parts that you spoke too fast and we could not understand what you were saying. So I would like to see you slow down a bit when you give your story, and also try to, it will make a big difference if you protect your voice more and try not to look at your story all the time. And also another point I would like to make is that use more of your gestures in a broader way. Use your hands and I know that you are nervous, so I think maybe next time you will not be so nervous and try to brush up on these skills. Thank you.
Okay. So this is the YouTube that he has shared, that you can observe the speaking link. So you see the boy is supposed to do gestures, but he didn't do much. So he didn't follow. So these are 14, 15-year-old students. They come together and they're doing. And he was doing level 1, speech 2, which was gestures. So, so now all of you, have you all prepared your speech? Are you all ready to speak? Since I gave you the getting to know you speech to do. So if someone is coming now, just now I gave is for you to prepare 3 to 4 minute speech about yourself. So as teachers, are you all ready? Anyone would like to volunteer? Oh, okay. No volunteers to speak.
Yes, Mila.
Please do. Now, you see, you all as teachers, you all are adults, and then you all are not speaking. So how about the 9-year-olds and 8-year-olds children? And you push them to speak. Is that correct?
So who is breaking the ice?
So, Miss Janisha, Mr. Peter, would you like to try?
Yeah. Very simple one. Yeah.
Remember,
Okay,
it has to be 3 minutes. I'm going to clock you for 3 minutes. All right.
Okay. A very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peter Jo Gurandi. I am 41 years old. I am currently working as a medical staff in a plantation clinic. However, I am inspired to teach English young children. And I'm currently teaching English during evening class or evening sessions. I'm doing it as a volunteer basis because to my mind, English is for all. And I believe that English reaches everyone, particularly in my area or outlying areas in Sabah, Bluran Sabah. It means the world to me. Thank you.
Okay, you only spoke for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Okay, so that's a good, you see, you're talking, that's a problem. People, when they asked to talk about themselves, they don't know how to talk about themselves. And when you are actually, you should know yourself better than anyone else. And I gave you 3 minutes to prepare about yourself. By right, you all should say is, I don't need preparation. I can talk about myself. But none of you said that. All right. Okay, so let's have someone else to try out who wants to volunteer. Miss Janisha, I need to call names, is it? Would you like to try? Yeah.
All right, I will maybe try.
Yeah, please do.
So, okay, let me see. I hope I can speak for 3 minutes. Okay. Good afternoon to everyone. My name is a little bit about myself. So my name is Janusya Anapurupan Balakrishnan. Usually people call me Janu or Jen. And I'm 29 years old this year. I'm from Cheras, Kuala Lumpur. Currently, I'm pursuing my master's degree in education. I'm working as a full-time tuition teacher. I have been a tutor for the past 11 years. So I'm having a small center whereby I have teachers coming in and teaching certain subjects. And at the same time, I also do teach the language subjects. So during my free time, I like to watch lots of documentaries on various online platforms like YouTube, Netflix, Disney Hotstar, and everything. So my interests include history, wildlife, and geopolitics. So I enjoy watching them and understanding more about what's happening around the world, because I use those information to share with my students, especially when we have a comprehension text about, let's say, coffee, about Starbucks coffee. And I will share with them how, the history of coffee and everything. So I find it as a tool to connect with my students. And in the future, I hope to expand my small tuition center, whereby I like to provide more enrichment programs, such as in the field of STEM, language, and after school care. Apart from that, I do organize short trips to to museums and zoos and any educational places with my students. And yeah, I think that's all.
1 minute and 59 seconds. Thank you so much. That's very great. Yes. Okay. Anyone else would like to try? Chris? Since you have your video on, those who have the video on, that means they want to speak. That's great. Okay.
Hello, good afternoon, teacher and everyone else here. So actually, it's my first class this week. Actually, I just missed the last class because I went back to the my kampong actually to work, so I couldn't make it for the first class. So but never mind. For this second class, okay, I will introduce myself. About my background. Okay, my name is Chris Tan. So I'm 32 years old this year, almost enter 33 years old. 33 next year. So I was born in Perak, and I have a family in Sabah Bernam, which is in the Selangor state. So I have been moving to the KL state when I was around 24, 23. So I'm now working with my second parent. I'm working with them almost about 10 years. So actually is also my name. I also own the business as well. But my second parent also at the same time we are helping each other. So in my free time, I usually will study online, such as LCCI or maybe business communication, what I did in the past. So I really completed about like 9 months, you know. The course took me about 9 months to complete. So until I found this course, the teaching course, which I'm quite not familiar at all because it's so different from my career. So the reason why I'm taking this course because the shortcut with the teacher, because I want to find out what I'm going to do, you know, in the future. I probably might change my career or maybe to the teaching line. So I'm just wondering whether I can go or not. So I'm giving it a try, you know, but I'm giving myself a chance to expose myself to a very different, you know, kind of class. Right now, currently, I'm taking LCCI during the weekend. It's also open for all the adults above 20 years old. I think above 18 years old. All the people can attend for that. So I'm taking about like 9 months or so. So for the reason that I'm taking this course because I want to find out what actually I want to do. So in my free time, my hobby is to read the book or maybe read. Most of the time, I love to read a very different kind of material, you know, such as like most of the time I will read the English language, like storybook, you know, all those kind of stuff. I actually personally myself, I love to went through to a very different variety of knowledge, you know, something like this. Yeah? So I'm quite happy to be part of this program with the teacher and all of you, even though I'm quite, you know, strained to this, you know,
Program.
Yeah, this program, yeah. I think, can I add some more?
Yes, please.
Can I?
Yes.
4 minutes, right? So I quite like, I actually joined this program, I think last year ago, you know, I'm not really sure about it. I think it's a grammar, I think, it's not mistaken. No? I have joined with the teacher. So that time I also taking the business English communication skill. I haven't finished yet at the time. But okay, probably I will going to take the teaching course next year.
Yeah.
Probably the tester one, like the 1 year, right? Next year. Yeah, hoping that I'm going to make it for all the things.
Yes.
I think that's all about myself.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, teacher.
No problem. So
Okay.
have your
Yeah. Okay.
all right. So can we ask Miss Yamina or Miss Lila or Manju to speak? Miss, okay. That's great. So when she pawns a video, that means she wants to speak. Okay, great. Hi.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Very loud and clear. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Glad to know that. Okay, let me introduce myself first. My name is Leela Arumugam. Actually, I was a preschooler 5 years ago. I teach in preschool, but then I left because I had my second baby, so I quit my job. And right now it's like a short break for me. But meanwhile, what I'm doing is I'm still doing part-time tutoring. I'm teaching young kids from 4 years old till 16 years old. I love to teach them English. Especially I like to work with these phonic soundings so that when I'm training them, it's like very fun because they learn how to say, they're very good. They will capture it very fast, and then they can in a short period of time, they will be able to read by themselves. When I see that, I'll be very happy. Actually, the reason why I came to this field is before this, I was working as a call center agent. I work in admin department, HR department. Then when I had my first son, my son was actually diagnosed with ADHD. So when I usually used to train him at home, that only was the moment that I realized myself, oh, I could be a teacher actually. So I started training him slowly, and then I learned how to do some. Normally, when we teach, like we cannot directly teach for an ADHD kid because there need to be several breakdowns for them to understand what are we trying to teach, especially on the concept area. So at that point, then I realized myself, oh, I can do this. Why not? I take up some courses relating to this and help others who need help. Because I've seen the parents are so desperate, those parents with special need kids, especially, they find it very difficult when it comes to learning. So my main aim was to help them. I thought maybe I can help some help them to be better when they are ready for the school, school readiness actually. So this was the reason I came into this field, and I have 10 years experience in teaching English. I worked in a language center. Earlier, when I was working in a language center, my English was just basic, but I brush up my English every day. I read up, I do more practice on English. For some time, like a short break, so I know I'm lost. I lost touch actually. So now I took up this course to I want to brush up again, and then I'm planning to move into international schools. My aim is to teach in international schools to help those special need kids. And then besides this, I'm also a part-time baker. It's my passion, so I focus on that as well. During this break time, I'm doing what I like to do for myself.
Great. That's good. 3 minutes and 7 seconds.
Thank you.
Yes, good. It's nice to know you all. So you see, the getting to know you is I'm knowing all of you, because it's so difficult when we come as a group on Zoom. I don't know much about you all. So this way, at least it's like a icebreaker to know everyone well. So how about Miss Manju and Miss Yamina? Would you like to speak? No response? Okay. Just one thing I would like to share. So just now, those who spoke, right? It was fun to see that the common words that were being used, like this is where we can actually see our weaknesses. Like Chris, your speeches were so many so. This is a natural way of speaking where we tend to forget that when we speak, we need to know how to overcome this one. So you're so and then like Janusia, you had a lot of a lot of pauses where you had this a lot. So we have this is when we speak, we don't know what to say. So when it comes to speeches like this, it's one way we can control it. I used to use a lot of las, and then when I came to this, I have stopped using LAS.
So how to speak? How to speak English like American?
No,
UK accent.
we're
UK
not
accent.
talking about accents. We're not asking about accents. We're not talking about slang. We're only asking is when you do a prepared speech or you're in front of people and you're giving your speech, you need to know that this have to reduce, shouldn't have practically. And most of us in Malaysia, the la is very common. We talk with one another, automatically the la's come out. No la, yes la, that's how we speak. So we need to know how to forget saying all this when we want to talk to someone in a proper way. As English language teachers, we must reduce all this. We shouldn't have this in our, when we talk to the children. It's wrong. You want them to reduce this, but you are yourself speaking like that, it's wrong. So we have to know how to control ourselves and remind ourselves that I don't want to keep saying, yes, yeah, you must also, this also do this, also, okay, 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 everything is okay, 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 yes. So that's the way we need to work. So this one is really good when you do a prepared speech, you're doing speaking in class. This is a good platform for students to realize that you shouldn't say this too much. Need to reduce in your speeches. That's how we work. So I was just observing how you all spoke, and that's where I notice this. It's the comes in is because you are trying to think of something to say. Automatically you go with then you say something, then you go something. It's just a habit where we need to try to not have it. If you are going to teach speaking to your students, teachers must not have all this. Then it's no point giving an R counter, counting the students' mistake when the teacher himself or herself say all this. Okay, yes. Yes, okay. All right, so let me stop share here. Mr. Ridwan is here. Could you speak? We asked everybody to speak about themselves since you joined us. It would be nice to hear from you. Just 3 minutes about yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, okay. Hello, hi everybody.
Yes.
My name is Rizwan, and I'm here. I'm happy to be here with you in this class. I'm 30 years old. I was brought up in good old England, in the north of England, and I'm here now teaching in Malaysia. Glad to be a part of this class, and thank you for allowing me to speak, Ms. Soba. Back to you.
That's all? That's all you talk about yourself? Is that all I know about you? Everybody spoke for 3 minutes about themselves.
Okay. What would you like to know?
I only know your name.
I've got a fascinating story to tell. Since we're in storytelling.
Yes.
Yeah. I went to a boarding school, and then after my name is Rizwan. I'm 30 years old, and yeah, I'm a KL boy, born and bred in KL, but unfortunately didn't get to spend much of my childhood in KL. I was boarded off to boarding school when I was 5 years old, 5 turning 6. And after that, went to good old England for my studies, got my degree, and then came back here to Malaysia. After which, started my career in banking. And after that, I pursued teaching as it was my first port of call. And it was my first love, teaching English to be exact.
So
that's a little bit about me.
Okay, so that means you fulfill your ambition of being a teacher.
Yes. My granddad was a headmaster
Mm.
And I too one day will be a headmaster too, hopefully.
So it's always good when we are able to, what they say, fulfill our ambition.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely. Well, the purpose of me joining this class is to refresh my mind. And from last week, I'm happy that Miss Soba, with the information that you've showed to us, I'm so pleased that it just, I had that light bulb moment where oh yes, I learned about this some time ago, and it's very nice to have that refreshing feeling, if you get what I mean.
Yes. Yes, that's, yeah, you were with me for the certificate program. So thank you so much for joining me today. I was sharing the screen about our Speakers League and our storytelling for students. So it's just a matter of everybody going into storytelling, importance of English and how children can build up from that, how to speak well.
Oh yes, definitely. So far my kids, the thing is, when I speak when I speak fluently, then they will be like, huh,
You don't understand.
teacher, why are you talking? I don't understand. Can you slow down a bit? I was like, no, I can't slow down. It happens naturally, you see. So I have to, there's something I have to get used to, and time and again I still have students coming up giving me blank stares. Not even students, sometimes the parents themselves.
Yes.
So yeah. Over to you, Miss Soba. I think my 3 minutes are up.
Oh, yes.
So sorry, everybody, to take your time.
So much. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing about yourself. Okay.
Most welcome. Most welcome.
Okay. So everybody, so I hope you all learned much about this one. I just want to share again the video about what we did in our Speakers League. Since Mr. Ridwan is here, Mr. Ridwan, we run a Speakers League program where our language centers, we do this with the children. So we recorded it and we put on YouTube, where these children are 15 to 13 and above. So they are given the opportunity to speak. And then, so this is the teacher to evaluate. She's the teacher for the students.
7 minutes, the rate card will be up, and at 7 minutes 30 seconds, the bell will ring, which to signal to you, you have to stop speaking, or else you'll be disqualified from your votes. Now, the speaker for this project is 13 years old, I believe.
Wait, let me go back to the student who spoke. Okay, so this teacher gave an evaluation because she's a trainee teacher. And the way she gave evaluation to this boy who was speaking with gestures. Again, she was talking about Puss in Boots. But this child didn't have any gestures, all right? So this teacher who was a trainee teacher, when she gave her evaluation,
Couldn't understand, but there were some parts that you spoke too fast and we could not understand what you were saying. So I would like to see you slow down a bit when you give the story.
okay? So this is the teacher's view. Now, Miss Christina, she's very strict when it comes to Speakers League.
And follow from them on.
Okay,
Our second speaker, project speaker, will be doing this.
so she is trying to tell this boy who is the MC how to project his voice and introduce speakers. So she's correcting him in that way, okay? So she's giving an example on how to say.
To introduce you your second speaker, and I hope that our master of ceremony will be able to look at my example and follow from them on. Our second speaker, project speaker, will be doing this level 1, project 6, which is speaking with knowledge. And in his speech, he has to complete his speech within 7 minutes to 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So at 5 minutes, the green card will be up.
So this is how they show.
At 6 minutes,
the yellow card will be up. 7 minutes, the red card will be up. At 7 minutes 30 seconds, the lamp will be fish. To signal to you, you have to stop speaking, or else you'll be disqualified from your vote.
So,
Now, this
so Peter, since you said your boy want to speak more, you have to say you'll be disqualified if you speak more. Okay? Yeah.
speaker for this project is 13 years old, I believe, and he is from Union High School. The title of this level 1, project 6 is, can I have the title, please? USA. The title of this project is USA. Now, teachers and fellow students, let us put our round of applause for
the populous country. The capital city of USA is Washington, D.C., and the largest city is New York City. The USA is a diverse country with a multicultural society.
So this speech is for 7 minutes and this
These
boy
sports in the
is
USA are American
13 years
football,
old.
basketball, and ice hockey. English is the most commonly spoken language in the USA, followed by Spanish. The majestic Statue of Liberty in New York City,
Okay.
President of USA.
So let's see the evaluator, what she said, all right?
And you
Let's go with the evaluator. Where is she? Okay.
7 minutes. Thank you.
Then as well have the period Jai.
According to master of ceremony, audience especially to my evaluation, those are good. So, I know more about this thing now, after your speech, and
So they gave an opportunity for the girl to be an evaluator.
so,
All right. So these are the confidence they give with the students. Okay, let me stop sharing. So this is how we run our program. So we call this the Speakers League, and we have the children building up their confidence to speak. So she's a Funyu, the boy is from Funyu High. That means it's a 100% Chinese school. But you can see how they speak. It's because of the confidence we gave our children to build up their speaking. And the teacher is she's very good in the sense that she's very particular. So these children, they started from primary 4, but they are still in level 1, doing speech 6, which means if you don't do it well, you have to repeat. You have to go back, and she makes sure everybody does it proper. That's the main thing is you have to end up being a good speaker. So those who saw this, so you have an idea. So children, like Mr. Ridwan, you said your children will stare at you. So in a blank stares is because they don't have the confidence. They don't have the, the platform for them to speak. So our Speakers League is such that we build up the platform for the children to come up and speak in front of a group in like a meeting like Toastmasters. So they are able to speak more confidently. And I'm sure if you do that with, especially in care, the atmosphere is there, the environment is there for people to speak. I know the children will be better off in speaking that way. No child is deprived, all right? As long as we as teachers, we give them the platform, give them the confidence, motivate them, I think they can do it. All right, any questions thus far? Everybody's fine?
Yes.
All fine.
Yeah. So And one more question.
Please do.
Do we have to emphasize more on the tenses? Because when we speaking, we have to memorize the present tense, past tense, perfect continuous tense. There are 16 tenses. Do we have to, I mean, to put it into use? Or thank you. Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to tenses, it depends on the topic. Like we do prepared speech, maybe the tenses are important. Okay. But if the child makes a mistake while speaking, it's not necessary for you to correct the child yet, because we want them to have the confidence. So the fluency comes first before the accuracy. As long as you get your student to that's why the prepared speech, let them to read from the speech beginning. Slowly as they build up, then the tenses we can work on, and they have to, speak with correct tenses. But fluency before accuracy is more important than you looking into accuracy and then you want your child to speak in proper English. It's not possible. Even we as adults, when we speak, sometimes we make mistakes in our tenses. I do make mistakes in my tenses when I speak. That's part of speech when we speak. Like I said, when it comes to part of speech, when we speak, we can use verb phrases first. But when it comes to written, you can't use verb phrases first. You have to do with noun phrase and verb phrase. Correct? But when we speak, we can. As long as the child speaks and gets the message across at the beginning, when she's at maybe primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, even a secondary child, from a totally Chinese school or a totally non-English school, and they go out into the English classes where everything is English, they will definitely struggle. There are many parents now sent from totally Chinese or Tamil school or Kebangsaan maybe. They send to the international school where everything is in English and you have to speak only in English. You know how much the child is struggling because it's a subject that everything is that language. And they have to learn so much apart from the tenses and all, and also to present every subject in English. It's not easy for them. And we also need to understand that. Parents don't understand, they just push you and they push the child into an international school when she was not exposed to that language, he or she was not exposed for a very long time. It's just a few hours every day. And suddenly, boom, everything is in English. You know how much they're struggling there? So if you want to look into tenses and say you have to have good tenses before you speak, you're not going to speak anymore. Okay, so we have to work on that and understand, yes. It's really very sad, when you see children who are pushed into something where parents, that's why the child's future, if the child's future is in the parents' hands, I feel the child will struggle. Children is very difficult for them to grow up nowadays. It's like the international schools are booming up everywhere like mushrooms. And parents are just pushing them to get them to study, where they don't understand that they have to have a good foundation, which they never got if they were in a totally mother tongue language schools.
Yeah. But extremely sorry to comment one thing. Yes. Because I'm using the government English textbooks, year 6. It doesn't help. It doesn't help because lack of English fun to make the children, learn more interesting, make English fun. So what is your advice? Where can we buy the best English books for?
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'd rather, instead of buying English books, yes, Mr. Ridwan, you want to say something? Yeah.
Yeah. To answer, teacher, what's his name again? Sorry, I didn't get your name.
Peter Joe.
Peter.
Teacher Peter. Okay. I suggest you buy the new Cambridge books. They're awesome. They're a little bit expensive, but if you have the complete set for students and teachers with the reference, it'll be good because they have listening, they have videos as well, and also they have activities like speaking activities, and really helps. I understand your concern that, you know, if you're using the government books for primary school, it might not be that good. But if you want to, if you were to proceed to secondary education, the government books are as good as the Cambridge books itself, because I'm a headmaster actually.
The CEFR program is good in the sense that they have the 4 skills and they're going into thinking skills, and so the CEFR program is good in that way, but they're building up in that way. It's more of the IGCSE second language format.
Yeah, that's right. Teach English as second language. Now the thing thing is, teachers, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of first language English or second language English or foreign language English. It's just the skills. Sometimes, you know, when well, amongst our peers, they'll be afraid of first language. Why? Why are you afraid? Nothing to be afraid of. It's just the skills that we impart to the students.
Yes.
So yeah, just to share with my fellow English teachers, you don't have to be afraid of anything. You know, it's just it's the content is most important, but how you go about delivering the content is totally up to you. There's no right or wrong.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Ridwan. The thing is,
Welcome.
we as teachers, we need the confidence because the children are struggling. We need to really, we need to support them and motivate them and teach them in a way, because they are so new to all this. It's a struggle for them, but it may not be a struggle for us. So we need to understand our children's level of the language, and then we must work on that. Okay. And also online itself, we have a lot of resources where we can actually use for the students. We can really have a lot of online resources where we can look into to build up this child's speaking. Okay. All right. So anyone has any other questions? It's a very good sharing session. Anyone else have anything that you'd like to share with us? Since you all are teachers, I'm sure you all have some things to share about. So when it comes to English, it's something that we need to know. And as you know, public speaking is the #1 fear in all human beings. So children is no doubt about that. But the confidence to build them up we can actually help them in so many ways. So try to look into the fluency before the accuracy. So the grammar part can slowly build in once the child has the confidence to come up and speak. Right, Peter? I think it should be fine. Great. Okay. Anyone else? If not, I think we can end this session. Yes, Mr. Ridwan, you have something to say? No. Okay. Okay, your hand's still up there. So okay, so if that's all, I think we can end the session today. Are you all fine with it? Anyone has any questions so far? Okay, thank you so much. And I think this will be the last workshop for the year. We'll be continuing back next year. December is a break for everybody. So have a good New Year, Happy New Year, and please come back in 2023 with more.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Those who are celebrating Christmas. Okay, bye everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye, take care.